When we look at a certain cartoon character, usually they only have one personality that we assume to be with them through the entire series. However, secrets are soon revealed as we get glimpses of these characters' backstories, and some of them are actually really dark. If you don't see the character you're thinking of on this list, then by all means comment who it is down below. But with all that being said, let's count down the top 7 darkest cartoon character backstories. Number 7. Plankton from SpongeBob. Sheldon J. Plankton is a guy that just wants his business at the Chum Bucket to be successful. He's jealous of all the fish heading over to the Krusty Krab instead of his own restaurant, so of course he constantly tries to steal the Krabby Patty's secret formula to get some of that success as well. In a surprisingly lore-driven episode Friend or Foe, it's revealed that Plankton and Mr. Krabs were actually best friends as children. Both of them were complete outcasts, Plankton being made fun of because he was too smart, while Krabs was just really poor and couldn't actually afford normal clothes. It was them against the entire world since nobody else wanted to talk to them.
Relax, man. There's nothing to worry about. Not with these sweet inner tubes.
Yeah.
I'll save you, pal!
Good thinking, buddy.
Anything for a...
Eventually, they wanted to prove to an old business manager that making tasty patties could be done, so they worked together to accomplish this task. The patty they created turned out to be very much like the Krabby Patty in present day, and Old Man Jenkins tried eating it, but then got knocked out due to how horrible it tasted. Plankton and Krabs accused each other of contaminating the patty, then fought over the recipe, and their friendship was over. Plankton tried to use his own formula with a chum patty, but nobody seemed to enjoy it, while Krabs had the incredible luck because everyone came to him for the famous Krabby Patty. Plankton's backstory is both sad and dark because he just wanted to have a good friend and be in a successful business together. When he desperately tries to steal the secret formula and you know about the past, it's sad to see the way events unfolded up to that point in time. You know, I'd probably call Mr. Krabs more of a villain since he's really the main reason the two broke apart their friendship and he cares way too much about money. Plankton really doesn't deserve his unlucky fate. If anyone does, it would probably be Krabs. Number 6. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz, head of Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated, and the main antagonist for Phineas and Ferb, is a scientist who creates crazy inventions to bring doom to the tri-state area. He is always battling with Agent P, even though he's one of those wacky guys that's a villain, but not really because he isn't too smart. Doof actually has a pretty dark backstory. Over the course of the series, we get flashbacks to his childhood since he sometimes builds inventions that relate to how he experienced life as a kid. First of all, his parents basically ignored him as he was growing up. Whenever he would have a problem, there weren't really any other people that he could talk to, although one day he did end up drawing a face on a balloon at the carnival, naming it Balloony, and calling it his friend. Yeah, of course that's funny in retrospect, but the fact that he literally has nobody else besides a balloon is still depressing to see. Things don't really get better for Doof's childhood as he makes his way through school being constantly bullied, embarrassing himself in more ways than you can imagine.
While the other children played kick the stomper and ate dunkelberries, I would stand for hours. All through the cold night as the Spitzenhound howled, my only companion was the moon.
One time he wore underwear and a cape and then filmed himself skating around and yelling how he was a superstar. With his terrible luck, this went viral and he couldn't walk around without being made fun of. Combine all of this with the fact that he had an older brother named Roger who had most talents that Doof couldn't even achieve himself, which led to all the attention going to Roger. Seeing this evil scientist crack jokes in present day Phineas and Ferb, it's not hard to be entertained by how he acts, but his backstory is surprisingly dark. He really isn't always the bad guy and it's easy to sympathize with him. Number 5. Ice King from Adventure Time. Ice King falls again into that category of joke villains with a dark past, and I'm not sure why it keeps happening, but it does result in interesting characters. Also, this is going to be the final villain I'll be talking about for the video. When Ice King was first introduced in the series, you could tell that he would barely endanger Finn, Jake, and anyone else who tried to fight him. The two-parter in season 3 titled Holly Jolly Underbelly secrets gave us the hidden passive Ice King, who was revealed to be a completely normal person named Simon Petrikov before the Mushroom War. He was a guy who studied ancient artifacts and enjoyed taking a step into the unknown, until one day he came across this mysterious crown. As he put this crown on, he recorded himself time and time again while wearing it, his depressing descent into madness becoming apparent.
Since then, I now see the visions always, whether or not I wear the crown. They tell me the secrets of the ice and snow, that the power of the crown will save me with its frost. I don't know when it will end. I'm really scared. I know my mind is changing, but I'm already too far gone to know what to do.
He slowly began to forget his old identity and became known as Ice King, losing what made him Simon Petrikov in the first place. The crown's magical properties let him live even after the war. But if you thought that's where his backstory ends and it doesn't get much darker, then you'd be wrong. He had a past with Marceline the Vampire Queen, since he took her under his wing after finding her in the wreckage of the war. The worst part is, whenever any of these events are brought up to Ice King, he just can't remember a single thing, but Marceline knows it all. This just creates a really sad character relationship shown in the amazing episode I Remember You. Much like Doofenshmirtz, it's really nice when Ice King is on screen and says all his classic one-liners to make you laugh, but when you dive down a bit into his backstory, you'll realize that his whole character is probably more devastating than hilarious. When he was Simon, all he wanted to do was enjoy discovering new artifacts and have a good time with his fiancée Betty, though the crown changed everything. Number 4. Pops from Regular Show. When the gloriously innocent, lollipop-headed man Pops entered our hearts at the start of Regular Show, he was amazing. He's probably not the most clever guy around, but he was a nice character, always oblivious to what's going on, though having such a carefree and positive attitude at life. When it was revealed towards the end of the show that he had a dark past, nobody expected it because he was supposedly just a normal, happy person. Turns out he was actually born on a planet called Lollyland, and instead of Pops, his original name was Megacranus. Alongside his birth was an evil brother named Anti-Pops, who was created for the sole purpose of going head to head with the Pops we know and love. Oh yeah, the entirety of the universe is supposedly created as a battleground for Pops and Anti-Pops, and every 14 billion years they both fight, though the universe is completely reset because these siblings always end their battles in a stalemate.
Their powers in perfect balance. Every time the battle ends in stalemate, and the universe resets anew.
For billions and billions of years, Pops has been considered the chosen one and the only person in existence who has the ability to take down this ultimate enemy and save the universe from resetting. Everything I just said is the tip of the iceberg, but oh my god, that's a lot for a seemingly normal character who just laughs at butterflies. Probably the best part about Pops' dark backstory is how at the very beginning of the series, just about nobody could really predict this past. Regular show characters all seem to have regular backgrounds, but Pops in particular just stands out as a guy who should have a completely typical past. Seeing him fight to save the universe in the final season was incredible, and it was a twist nobody was prepared for. Number 3. Ford from Gravity Falls. Ford Pines, the author of the journals containing all the supernatural secrets of Gravity Falls, had a pretty messed up backstory. Even when we travel all the way to when he was a kid, people constantly made fun of him for having 6 fingers. They called him a freak, and he only really had his brother to spend time with. Later on in life, when he decides to settle down in a house that would eventually become the Mystery Shack, Ford runs into tons of deadly creatures and monsters, one of them being Bill Cipher. This triangle dream demon, despite acting like a friend, tricked Ford into building a super weapon that would change everything. Ford received information about a special parallel dimension to Gravity Falls that was leaking its weirdness into the town, but it was too late to do any more research because Bill revealed his true insane plan. The Nightmare Realm would combine with the human world, causing chaos and destruction to everyone.
No, I'll stop you. I'll shut it down.
A deal's a deal, Sixer. You can't stop the bridge between our worlds from coming, but it would be fun to watch you try. Cute even.
I'd been betrayed.
Ford knew that this had to be stopped, so he hid the journals and did whatever it took so the portal couldn't be opened and the Dream Demon's plan would never see the light of day. Unfortunately, Grunkle Stan's appearance to Ford's house was enough to set in motion a series of events that Ford never expected. Long story short, a fight leads to the portal's reactivation, and Ford gets stuck inside for the next 30 years, traveling through various dimensions and searching for a way out. Everything about this backstory is just amazing, but also really dark. Things just never seemed to go right for him when he was made fun of as a kid, not getting into the university he desired, then dealing with the horrifying Dream Demon ready to kill, and on top of all that, being stuck in the crazy dimensional weirdness for 3 decades. It's safe to say that Ford went through a lot, and seeing him return to the town of Gravity Falls was awesome, especially knowing all of his past experiences.
Dominion in our world?
Maybe not right now, but things change, Stanford Pines. Things
Number 2. Kenny from South Park. To describe Kenny McCormick in a quick sentence for anyone who doesn't watch this show, he's the one that dies all the time. This has been a running gag throughout the older seasons of South Park, and while he's been dying less in modern episodes, there's still an extremely messed up backstory surrounding him. The season 14 plotline, Coon vs. Coon and Friends, is the classic hero team versus villain story, though the best part about it was undoubtedly Kenny's lore. He tells his friends that it's impossible for him to die, and when they don't believe him, he kills himself. Nobody remembers what exactly happened, but Kenny just wakes up in his bed completely unharmed, even after having the memories of his previous death. The bombshell moment at the end of this episode reveals to us that a new version of Kenny is born every single time a previous one dies, so basically we're seeing a completely different character after each death, but with the same memories as before. Now you may be wondering, how does this make sense? To be honest, it doesn't, but it's South Park, so questioning its realistic factor would probably lead to no satisfying answers. It's just really creepy that after all of his painful deaths, Kenny not only feels the moment, but he has died so many times throughout the series and nobody except him remembers. We'll never really understand his pain, but he's one of the more interesting characters in the series because of this strange immortality. Number 1. Brook from One Piece. Okay, I know this is One Piece and that's an anime, not a cartoon, but it's basically a Japanese cartoon. Plus, Brook has one of the darkest backstories and there's no way I can't include him in the video. Robin's is also extremely sad, but I'm not going to be putting 2 different One Piece characters in the same video. Anyway, this is a series that gives us amazing flashback scenes to show character backstories, and most of them are pretty tragic. When we meet the highly positive and cheerful skeleton Brook, nobody would ever assume he has a terribly sad past. There's a lot to tell, and you should probably experience all of it yourself if you ever do decide to watch or read One Piece, so I'll go over the basics. Brook and his pirate crew of the Rumbar Pirates were people who loved music, always playing on the sea and having a great time. They came across a whale who they named Laboon, who loved their joyful songs. The Rumbar Pirates were heading into the Grand Line, which was too dangerous for a baby whale like Laboon, so these pirates promised the baby whale that they would return after their adventure. Eventually, most of the Rumbar Pirates ran into trouble on seas and got hit with a terrible infection, dying off slowly but surely. At the center of it all was Brook, who previously ate a special fruit called the Revive fruit, and as he and his crew performed their final song, everyone began dropping dead. When his own death kicked in, he was brought back to life thanks to the power of the Devil Fruit. This group never returns to Laboon, and Brook played the piano, turning this lovely piece of music into a solo. He had to watch his whole crew die right in front of him, but despite how deeply dark this backstory is, there's still hope. Laboon has been waiting for so many years, but he's still alive and wants to see the old pirate crew that made his life as a baby so much better. Even though Brook is the only one still here from the Rumbar Pirates, he is sailing around the Grand Line with the rest of the Straw Hat crew, and he'll return to this now fully grown whale. One Piece truly is incredible with its characters' backstories, and Brook's is devastating but powerful, making his journey across the ocean even more meaningful.
This is wonderful. Even after all this time, he's still doing okay. I've never been this happy in my entire life.
But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.